It's 9:10. Krypta FM is on the air. Krypta FM is a first-person indie horror game from Under the Sink Studios. The game is set in the early 2000s in the rural Polish village of Gozdary. Its residents call into the local radio station to report mysterious phenomena, and tonight, the host has a good one. Tonight, after a read through the radio station's forum, you venture out to solve the mystery of the newly sighted cryptid, dubbed by locals the Beast of Gozdary. Krypta FM is a wonderfully charming horror game. It's not perfect by any means, but I felt that the team at Under the Sink deserves some love. If anyone from Under the Sink is watching this, please excuse my pronunciation on some things. I am from New Zealand. But the thing that prompted me to make this video is something that actually really surprised me. It's that, despite this game being a horror, I was greeted with a strangely heartwarming narrative, and a distinct lack of cheap horror tactics like jump scares. The heartwarming part of this game is how it connects you to a virtual community. I love seeing the ways that they type and the small details about their lives and interests. And engaging with the radio station and the forum is like being part of a tight-knit club, one that, of course, is quite naturally kitsch and edgy, as was a lot of internet culture and humour at the time. Through the forum users' posts, you get tasked with different mysteries to investigate and photograph. What's that corpse next door? Was it the smoke in the forest? Some old guy wants you to take a picture of a statue in the graveyard. So, as the forum's resident crypto photographer, you set out into the night with your digicam and give the people what they want. The atmosphere when you walk around the town, with the faint wind and mist, is refreshing and serene to me. It almost makes you forget there might be a creature lurking here in Gozdary. There is this house at the centre of your town, just with a snug bedroom and your bulky monitor and a narrow, dim hall. Past that, there's the town, with a stretch of road lined with luminous windows, shabby chain-link fences and murky yellow street lamps. Further out, following your unreliable hand-drawn map, you'll find yourself in one of many locations: a train station, an old bunker, a graveyard, or a rumoured place of power. I asked the lead of Under the Sink Studios some questions about the game over Discord. When asked about the influences for the setting, he said, "We are inspired mainly by villages, where some of us grew up and some of us spent time as children. For example, with our grandparents. In addition, we simply hopped around on Google Maps, looking for small towns and villages, and looking at their layout, atmosphere, and general appearance. It wasn't very difficult because most of us more or less had contact with such places, and really liked the cozy vibe they gave off." He later talked about a particular town. The town's name, Gozdary, was inspired by the village Gozdy in the Mazovian Voivodeship, and our train station is inspired by Koziest train station next to Gozdy. The name Bozigrod sounds just like the name of a typical small town in Poland. It translates to something like God's castle/town. I also asked about the old web influences, and he commented on how the web 15 to 20 years ago looks vastly different to how it does now. Of course, I myself am a little too young to fully relate. Blogs and forums were already going out of style by the time that I was properly using the internet. But anyway, he said, "It often wasn't the most convenient to use, but it certainly had its own special vibe that is hard to find on today's sites. I also think that the forums themselves, or other sites, were just an intermediary. And what we miss the most is the whole communities and the people you met there, which we tried very hard to reflect in Krypta FM." This is actually something I think about often. The internet is a lot less personal and community-based than it used to be. I think Krypta FM does well to capture these aspects of old websites, in appearance and in the way that people communicate. He told me that the forum in the game is actually based on a Polish forum, which was founded in 2005 and is still running today. It is similarly dedicated to paranormal phenomena and urban legends. I really liked seeing how the forum community in the game congregates around pictures you take, and they all pitch in with their unique personalities. The old man in particular was very sweet. I love how he stands out like a black sheep in the forum, having never engaged with computers much before finding his way onto the community forum. Like how he's always signing off his posts like an email. A strong point of this game was the quality of the voice acting. While I have seen some reviews complaining about the radio broadcast, I actually loved it. It's surprisingly smooth and natural. It made me wish I could have had a local station just like Krypta FM. The sound in general, including the music, is stellar. It's been playing in the background this whole video, actually. Some nice acoustic tracks with a healthy dosage of what I'm inclined to call spooky post-punk. Mechanically, the game is quite simple. You switch on your flashlight, take a look at your very unreliable map, and go for a walk. But what was really creative was how your humble digicam comes in handy when the power goes out. With a flat flashlight, you must navigate the night using the camera flash, while strange sounds surround you in the dark. In this section of the game, you essentially see in still frames, making you wonder what you miss in between shots. I really loved how horror was approached in this game, and this was just one example. Of course, I have to also mention the almost PS1 style graphics, and how they contribute to the horror in this game. This style has undoubtedly gotten popular in indie games, especially in the horror genre. And I think it comes down to how it's quite a liminal style, just an eerie, nostalgic stepping stone towards the way games can look today. In Krypta FM, this style works wonders, making the game both eerie and thoroughly rooted in the near past. Anyway, this is where I stop talking about the game and urge you to check it out. It's free on Steam, and the soundtrack was just released recently, so you can give it a listen here on YouTube or on Spotify. And you'll be able to find all those links in the description. Thank you.